Hi there, my name's Aaron Short and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today is Monday, February the 28th, and I'm really excited today because last week a viewer suggested that we speak with Jeremy the Guitar Hunter, and I reached out to him that very same evening and he agreed that very same evening to come on tonight. So without further ado, let's bring him on straight away. How you doing, Jeremy? It's great to meet you.
Hey, good to meet you. How are you, man?
I'm great. Let me give you one of these.
Sorry?
I'm giving you a round of applause, but I had it muted. I shall give you another one. Here we go. There we go.
That's good. I like the delay.
The wonders of live streaming. That was totally user error. You know, this is the first time I've met you in person.
Yeah.
First time we've
in
spoken.
The last couple of years. Yeah.
Right. So have we ever met before? We never met at NAMM or anything, did we?
No, I've never been to NAMM. I'm a used guitar guy mostly.
Okay, so yeah, this is the first time we've met. It feels a little bit odd to meet the first time on a live stream, and also really awesome as well. And I want to say hi to you, and I want to say hi to everyone in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us. And today we've got Jeremy for about an hour, so please just put your questions with a Q in the chat, and I will present them as we go. To get started, Jeremy, I've seen your channel. I like your channel a lot. I remember that video. Yes, you do great stuff. And the first thing I'll say is you do a lot of acoustic guitar stuff, as do I. I am, in fact, a sound hole sniffer. If it focuses, there we go. I was sound hole sniffer. That's good. And you are a guitar hunter, so we make a good pair here today.
Yeah.
And you do a lot of acoustic guitar stuff. And I said to my guest the other day, why do you think there's not more channels doing acoustic guitar? Why are so many channels doing the electric guitars? Why don't more people do acoustic?
I just did a video that'll come out on Casino Guitar's channel about this. Like I asked Jonathan, like, are acoustic guitars lame? Like, are we just like, I don't know. So I don't really know. For me, I think that it's probably has some component of there's like high gadget and trading card kind of vibes with electric guitars, and the barrier for entry, at least for buying pedals and stuff, is so much lower that I think a lot of people, they like the kit and the components, and they can build everything out, and they can build a parts caster. And then if you compare, you're consolidating money, acoustic guitars could be seen as, more expensive. But yeah, for me, I don't know. Because I grew up playing metal and punk rock and in hardcore bands. And then somewhere along the way, I just fell in love with acoustic guitars, and particularly old Martins. And so that's what I've just been chasing for 20 years. But I don't really know. What's your take on that?
I think you're right. I think people perceive acoustic as not as cool as electric. And I also think there's more gear for electric. Like if you go to NAMM, I always make that comment that all you see at NAMM is stuff for ways to amplify an electric guitar. Amplifiers, Line 6, Helix, Kemper, Neural DSP, plugins. There's so much gear geared towards the electric guitar players.
Seriously.
And not as much for acoustic. And also people see the acoustic as something you just play in the room by itself as well.
Yeah, and so for me personally, I think electric guitar takes so much more imagination, because you're playing a riff and you're imagining a drummer over, playing this thing, and there's a bass player playing along with you. And so, I mean, part of that is amazing. You get lost in this world of imagination with electric guitar. And with acoustic guitar, there's a lot less to hide behind. But also there's a lot more technique. Like, to refine your tone in electric guitars is look how somebody has their knobs tweaked. And then for acoustic guitar, it's like, well, where's your shoulder and where's your left arm and your elbow and the roll of your wrist? And so it's a lot more to change the tone. You have to change yourself, which is just a different kind of thing than electric guitar. Right.
The focus is on the instrument and the player maybe a bit more than the other stuff. Although I plug in a lot, so I've done a lot of pickup reviews. I saw your pickup video you did as well. That's awesome. And I do a lot of that plugging. I think more people will start to plug in as technology creeps into acoustic as well. I mean, look at the acoustic. You've got an Acoustasonic, right? Stuff like that. Yeah. So
yeah, the Acoustasonic. I just got a new one. Well, I won't talk about that guitar yet. But as far as yes, well, I'll tell you later. It's not as exciting as it sounds. But yeah, I've had two of the Acoustasonics, and actually just traded an Acoustasonic. I wanted to keep it, but someone offered me a deal I couldn't say no to, which is I got a Wright Lutherie Have you seen these? Let me grab it. Oh, can I reach without my...
We getting exclusive.
So it's this. It's a round-shouldered maple back and sides J45 nice. Basically, but hand built by a guy in Tennessee. And anyway, doesn't have a pickup, but anyway, back to your original point, the gadgetry of acoustic guitars. In the same way that electric guitars, like you're now getting to where it used to be, oh, I need a pickup so I can plug in. But now I'm seeing more people show up even to like church gigs with a pedal board of some sort. You know, they've got a preamp and a tuner and, you know, you're starting to see, well, now I also have a delay pedal and, you know. So I think the gadgetry is coming for all of us in the acoustic world too.
Yeah, I think so too. It's just a bit behind the electric, but I think it will catch up.
And I think it's a component, too, of coming out of, like, COVID time, especially for players in churches that are having to play. Like, if you're going to be heard, you're going to have to either play into a microphone or some way to get it to stream since people can't be in the same room to hear your guitar. So, yeah, I don't know. Well, and I'm on a relentless hunt to find the right sound. Like, I just want my guitar to sound like my guitar, you know, instead of whatever voodoo you have to do.
I spent the last 5 years on that journey. That's why I started this channel. So maybe one night we'll do it. Maybe one night we'll do a 6-hour live stream and go into that together. Because that's how long it would take to talk about that.
Seriously.
The acoustic guitar, so simple and yet so hard to amplify. It's a whole thing.
And I think
Sorry, I'm just very aware that you're here for an hour. I just want to say hi to people in the chat and get the questions in because I think this is great. I think me and you could literally just talk forever, even just about acoustic guitar pickups. So I just want to be aware of the time.
Absolutely.
Let's do a quick hello. We've got West Coast Ray here today. Says cool to see us working together. West Coast Ray. Both of you offer great opinions on gear and just have the passion I share for old and new Martin guitars. Awesome. Thanks. Welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Jim is here. Says he agrees. Great. Jim, was it you that recommended we do this? I think it was you that recommended we do this. Or Mark Henry, two of my favorites. This is great. Why did we leave it so long, Jeremy? This is great.
I know.
And remember, don't forget to put that Q in front so I don't miss your question, okay? I'm just going to the hello to start with. Chaz is here, says hey. Matthew Carver, hi Aaron, Jeremy, and everyone from Ohio. And West Coast Ray is in Southern California. David Belcher is here. Good to see you, David. Hope your Monday is a good one. You too, my friend. And Chaz says, I'm getting better at being on time. LOL. Yes, you are. Good job. Stephen from New Jersey. Good to see you here. And Marianne's in the UK. Patsy Smith in the UK. Skip Russell in Boston. Rosanna in the UK. She's moderating. Thank you, Rosanna. Larry is here. Says hi to both of us. Said nothing like an acoustic guitar. Ryan says Jeremy is the best. Hi Ryan, good to see you.
Hey,
and Vic G and Lewis is here. This is awesome, so good. Hoff Guitars is here. Says hey guys.
Oh, Hoff Guitars, yes.
Brad Guitar Miller. And Jim. Sorry, it was I that recommended you reach out to Jeremy. Jim, this is all because of you. Thank you, my friend. Awesome, great suggestion. Keep those suggestions coming. That was a great one. And Chalarisms in Chattanooga. Is Jeremy streaming from Nashville? Where are you right now, Jeremy?
So I'm in Harrisonburg, Virginia now. I'll be in Nashville Wednesday through Saturday. And I'm doing I do a live show like this on Fridays. And this Friday I'm going to be doing it from Gallagher Guitars in Murfreesboro. So right outside of Nashville.
Oh, so you're doing it from the plate. That's great. Very cool.
Yeah. Well, you know, so I don't know about you, but for live shows, I lose a year off of my life because of stress of like microphone's not working and the camera's choppy. And so I'm kind of dreading setting everything up to do it. But well, you know, it'll happen. And,
it happens. It happens. You know, it's live TV basically, isn't it? So, you know.
Yeah, but without a producer, without, you know.
Yeah. Sonia's here. Good to see you from Texas.
Sonia. Oh, a different Sonia. I know a Sonia that's always on my streams.
It might be the same person. David is here from Lancaster, MA. And Alan is here. Couldn't make it last night. Watched one quick one. Thank you so much. Last night did a fundraiser for those in need right now. We raised over $1,000. It's all going direct to the charity. and that is still that's available to watch again, and you can still donate through that video from last night until Sunday. Thank you, everybody. That was awesome. Okay, so I need those cues in the chat, and I'm going to start with my own cue. I've got a few to get us going, but I need those questions in the chat, everybody. Now is your chance to ask us anything you want about guitars, all right? So here's one. I know you have a great website, Jeremy. I'll put that link in the chat. You do a book on how to buy a guitar. So obviously you've got a lot of information on that, but just as a kind of elevator pitch, I've been playing guitar for so long, and I've bought and sold so many guitars. I can barely put myself in this situation. Someone who's starting out today with the amount of great used guitars on Reverb, affordable guitars from all over the place, vintage. Now we've got the vintage guitars. Of course, they say we're in the golden era of guitar buying. How does someone that's brand new to guitar today choose their first guitar?
That's a really good question. I mean, the biggest thing when figuring out, the biggest problem that we're all facing is that there are thousands. At the moment you Google acoustic guitars close to me or whatever, you're going to start getting bombarded by ads and people telling you that you need to buy this guitar or that guitar. And so I think generally the biggest questions you need to look at: what is your budget? What's your time frame? What kind of music do you like? And then what size are you? That's probably the biggest one, because for the longest time, everyone says if you're getting an acoustic guitar, get a Dreadnought. But for most people, a Dreadnought it's a pretty big guitar. And so usually I start saying, well, if you're looking at all those factors together, I start pointing people towards O and OM size guitars or smaller kinds of guitars. But yeah, so I mean, that's a question for the ages. I think the wrong questions usually get pushed to the front of you should buy this brand because that brand is just better. And it's really, we are in the golden age of it's hard to find a guitar that sucks, now from a new guitar company. It's not like when you and I were growing up and you'd get, my first guitar was a global classical that was genuinely awful with an inch high action and nothing was in tune. Yeah. So that is the certainty. A bad guitar is your biggest threat of giving up. But thankfully, most guitars are a lot better these days.
Sorry, that was a very difficult question, because obviously if there was an easy answer to that, then I would have saved a lot of money over the years. I think my first guitar was either a Fender acoustic or my Yamaha acoustic. And that Yamaha was great, and they still are to this day, right? They're a great option as well, of course.
I think the most important thing is to find a guitar that is comfortable and plays easily first. Don't worry about how they sound, because that's the thing is if the best sounding guitar, we'd all get Yamaha red labels from the 60s that sound great for the money, but they're really hard to play.
Right.
And so that's why I think the Orangewood Oliver is a really great guitar. It doesn't sound that great, but it plays like a dream. Light action, skinny neck, small body. That's usually where I would point people.
So my guest was Dylan Talks Tone on Friday. We were talking about carbon fiber guitars, and his viewers, he has a lot of viewers that play electric, and they were saying that they're putting lighter strings on their acoustics. I think they're putting 9s on that's another option, right? Just go really light with your strings. I haven't done that myself, but it made me think.
I guess you could. Acoustic guitar, because you'd have to set up your guitar again.
Yeah.
Because the big thing are the nut slots are going to be too big, and the truss rod's going to be set for too much tension. So if you would go that way, it would play better, but you'd have to set it up and change the truss rod, so it would be a little problematic.
It's not something I would personally do, but hearing that many people say that they're doing that just made me think I guess electric players want that. The SC13 from Martin, the Acoustasonic, they're shipping with 11, so they're starting to kind of go that direction in a way.
So the Acoustasonic with 11s, that's such a fun guitar. Man, I just think they're so cool, and they sound giant, but they feel more like an electric guitar. But with the 11s, and I think they come with a wound third as well. Yeah. So they feel like acoustic guitar strings. I restrung mine with regular Slinkies with 10s, and it felt great. And it also worked a whole lot better for the electric pickup, because those pickups are actually magnetic, where 80-20 strings or it's not 80/20. What are the other ones? Yeah, the 80/20s that they come with, they're not aluminum's not ferric. So anyway, the pickup sounds a little flat, but if you put regular slinkies on it, that pickup seems to work better, in my opinion. That's a video I didn't make because I ended up trading that guitar before I made that video.
That's always a problem, isn't it? Why does the Acoustasonic get so much flack from people?
It's funny. So Rhett Shull and I had a long argument about them when the Jazzmaster came out because he got one and I got one. We both made videos for Fender about them. And for me, I totally got who that guitar is for, and Rhett could not get who that guitar is for. I think for most people, they view it by the words, and rightfully so. They just hear it's a Fender, Jazzmaster, or a Telecaster, and then they hear the words Acoustasonic. And so they hold it first as it's an electric guitar, and it should do electric guitar things. So I think who the Acoustasonic is for, it is for to me, it's a guitar player that's going to play out and going to cover a bunch of different tones in one night. So it's like a cover bar musician who wants an American-made guitar, ideally. They want a brand that they can trust. They want a guitar that's light. They want a guitar they don't have to bring a big pedal board for. Yep. So for me, like, I get that guitar. It's not necessarily for me. Like, I don't think I would ever buy one, but I've owned two as part of being part of the Fender release, whatever I'm called, an influencer of some sort.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that it gets you hung up when you come at it saying it's an electric guitar, when really it's like it is just imitating an acoustic guitar.
It's a new thing, isn't it? It's a new thing, and I think it's for people because I do cover gigs. I use a looper, so for me it's absolutely ideal. But I think, throughout the years being with the whole Martin thing on the forums and everything, so many people are so traditional they can't get away from that, and I get it. I'm a bit like that myself, but like I said, it suits a real need for me with the looping thing. So.
Well, it's interesting because like we all have a short memory and we don't remember like the Chet Atkins, the Godin, the Line 6 Variacs. Like this idea has been around for a long time.
Yep.
To me, it's still like it sounds like a Fishman pickup. Like it doesn't sound like that guitar. It sounds like a pickup of that guitar. So I don't know. To me, like I'm still not. I would rather have an LR Baggs, a K&K, or a pickup that sounds more like an acoustic guitar. But I mean, I can't get over how much fun I've had. Like I've spent hours and hours playing the Acoustasonics, and I've got Husson Daltons and Waterloos and really expensive acoustic guitars. But it's just so fun.
Yeah, I love that they've made them for that purpose, and I want them to do more. I mean, the Variacs did even more. The Variacs did alternate tunings and things like that, and split outputs. And I think they could make a super Acoustasonic that goes all out with the technology. I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
So as traditional as I am, I'd also love to see that as well.
Well, that's where I think, and I always talk about this. Like I compare the philosophies that guide Martin versus Taylor, and other brands are in the same boat as Taylor. But I think that there are two philosophies. One is we have made the best and most important acoustic guitars in the world. And so that's Martin's philosophy. It's like the best guitars are behind us. And so our best step moving forward is to reissue them, rework, do the authentic line so we can do, the hide glue and the hand rub finish and that stuff. But I think Taylor's on the other end of saying like, well, what if the best guitars are still in front of us? And what if we can, there are no sacred cows? What if we can revoice maple on the back and sides of, the 5 and 6 series to see how good that guitar can sound. And so for me, I'm always more interested in that perspective on guitar. Although I still love, like I played a guitar last week at Casino Guitars that I think is my favorite Martin ever. And it's a D8 or a D28 1937 authentic with the aging, like the relicking. I'm like, that's a guitar I would spend $8,000 for.
Don't say that because I'm looking for one of those at the moment.
Dude, they're...
True story. It's a true story.
Yeah. It's a great guitar, but it would be hard to live with because
everyone do not go to that website right now. A quick one about that. I played one for the first time, I think it was at Summer NAMM, and I really liked it. Everyone that watches the channel knows about this story. And then I thought, I really like that guitar. And then Tommy Emmanuel played it. And then I thought, now I've got that connection. Because in the past, I bought new. And buying used to me is quite a new thing. Because, I mean, I can't keep buying new guitars for the channel, right? So I've realized now the benefits of buying used. But then I'm thinking, well, that's now kind of used. But I thought, yeah, but I love it. And Tommy played it. And now I want it. And months went by, and I didn't know where it went to. And then about a month ago, I decided to match the pick guard to some dealers around the web, and I found it. And when I was at Martin, I confirmed that was the same guitar. I thought the stars have aligned, right? I'm sure as a guitar hunter, you would say, "Yep, there you go. That is the one for you." I went on the website the next day, and it was sold. So what does that mean when you're hunting for a guitar?
Dude,
that means it wasn't the one again, or I was too late.
I think there's like. There's trophy hunting. Like, I'm not much of an actual hunter. But, you know, there's like looking for the perfect 12-point buck. And then there's also being really excited about I was in the place at the time with the rifle and I got this buck. And so I think that's where, in my experience, to be a guitar hunter means like you just make the best of what you find. And you can refine where you look and how you find stuff. But, you know, I think because people come to me and they say, I want to find a birth year guitar, or I want to find this guitar that was stolen from me in 1971. And I don't have many tools for finding hyper specific. There are people that are like that, like John Schultz with True Vintage Guitar. He's a great friend. He's amazing about finding. He can find like this serial number in Shoreline Gold in, you know, built in 1982 or he's in the 50s, but I don't know. But I do think the Martin Authentic is an amazing guitar. But anyway, coming back to the philosophy, I think that I subscribe more personally to the best guitars are still out there. And I am okay trying things that haven't been done before and to try some new stuff and get some weird stuff in there. So Casino just got 2 of them. They got one that was aged and one that's not.
It's not there.
I don't.
You bought it?
If it's
You bought
it? I have too many kids to own a guitar like that.
Why is it on the site? Does that mean, do they like update every few weeks, or does that mean that's sold straight away?
That's I don't know these question. Guys. I don't think that they were on yet. They had just showed up the day before I got there, so they just showed up last Wednesday.
Okay. Let's stop shopping for me and get to the viewers here, because I'm not going to buy an Authentic today. All right. Hoff Guitars says, and don't forget to put the Q, but I'll give you this one, Hoff. For Jeremy, what do you think of the new Martin SC13? This is a great segue into, we were just talking about Taylor looking forward and Martin being the back. So SC13s are kind of the next step for Martin. Have you played one yet?
I've played one. And it's okay. It's definitely, that is not my style of guitar, at least from Martin. But I like a lot about it. I love, because the one I played was Avon-Call, which I think is beautiful and sounds really great. And it's really just attractive to look at. I love the neck contour. I'm just now, like, my playing style is just growing and changing to where I'm actually getting up above the 12th or 14th fret. And so the cutaways are starting to make sense more for me. But my main 2 guitars are a 12 fret and a 13 fret. So having access to like 16th, 17th, 18th is just a little outside of my normal playing style. But I think they're really cool, and they're really cool. They're well built. And they definitely fit like a singer-songwriter playing out in a bar a lot. So they're super likable.
I would say it's kind of Martin's foray into the Acoustasonic vibe, but keeping that acoustic guitar thing still.
Yeah, because they definitely, they had the GPC, the Grand Performance, or the Performing Artists. All the model numbers that broke all the rules that Martin's had for 150 years. Because before it used to be like, well, you know, one letter for, you know, D, triple O, OM, like, and then 2 digits, it's all solid. But anyway, I'm glad that they've persisted, because I was concerned with as they launched the Grand Performance and all those other models for the last 15 years with kind of the crazy flamey looking pick guard. This feels like it's a good, subtle, like, generation shift rather than clearly trying to go after Taylor. With this, I think they're just trying to do their own thing. I like the like the offset component of this. And they're priced just right. I mean, $1,600 for a well-made, all-solid performing guitar. I mean, that's the right price.
Yeah, you think it would suit what I do. I like the Martin GPCs, and I like Fender going the other way with the Acoustasonic type thing. I don't know how I feel about this yet, and if I think I would want like a 28 style. I know they say they won't make like a 28 style. It doesn't fit in with what they the numbering system, but I would like one that's made in the Nazareth factory with the like 28 appointments, like they made for John Mayer. You saw that one they made for John Mayer, something like that.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think they're gonna do that, because every now and then they'll make a model that you're like, wow, this is way too much value for what the money would be. Like I think they made for bluegrass guys, they would make the HD 16 LSC, the large sound hole. Wasn't a C, but they would make these guitars where you're like, what? This has herringbone, open gear tuners, rosewood back and sides, all solid. The only difference between this and a 28 is dovetail versus a bolt-on neck, but it's $1,899. Like, you're like, this is $1,500 cheaper than it should be. So every now and then you find those.
I think we'll see more of this. Did you see the post that was on the LR Bags or Charlie Worsham's? What was it, on Charlie's or LR Bags? With I think it was LR Bags put it up with him playing a guitar with the headstock masked off as another thin body guitar. I think we're going to get more and more and more of these. Did you see that post?
I didn't.
I think we're going to get more and more and more of these kind of guitars for stage. It's been weird with everyone being locked down, but now as things open up, and you said, the live streaming thing too. I want a guitar that works well on stage and also for a live stream. I know you can use a microphone for a live stream, but I'd like to have one that can also plug into my loop pedal, as well. Yeah.
Microphones still aren't the answer. Even microphones inside guitars. Like I don't particularly like the LR Bags Lyric. Is that what it's called? The microphone inside.
The Lyric mic, yeah.
So the only way to fix that is like with the voice print. But all of a sudden you're getting kind of like electric guitar. Like, well, now I have a $300 pickup or $200 pickup, and I need a $400 preamp on the ground, and I need a $100 tuner. And so all of a sudden you're like, well, I'm back up, but I'm spending way more for the instrument itself compared to an electric guitar setup.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think also the other thing that's really interesting is the kind of pickups, because to be a super percussive kind of player takes that, that Fishman style pickup under the saddle to get, if you're looping and setting up your own drum and your own beats. Anyway, yeah.
Have you tried the Cole? Pickups. I know. I'm trying not to. Have you tried the Cole Clark system?
I have. I like those a lot. But there's just something about those, like they just the whole aesthetic of Cole Clark to me, I really appreciate it and I get it and I understand it, but to me it just like it doesn't look like a Martin. I hate saying that, but to me it's like I don't feel super traditional, but those feel too modern in their look. But those and Maitons both, I think that Maitons sound incredible plugged in, but I really don't like having a separate plug. I don't like the plug on the corner of the guitar rather than the in pin. And it's just because of the way that they built their truss rod. Like to change their truss rod, it has to go through the end pin.
Yeah, I prefer having it in the end. But yeah, it's just But the Australian guitars, I commend them. I think they're great. I love Tommy Emmanuel. I love the fact that the Cole Clark has the 3 pickups. That thing can be really powerful. So I've got next question here for Jeremy. This is from Matthew Carver. Thank you. What do you look for in an acoustic guitar neck? Favorite nut and saddle spacing, relief, 12th fret height. And the same for me. Okay, I'll let you go first then.
Sure. So for me with acoustic guitar necks, I love V-shaped necks. So I'm not scared of big, like C-shape, V-shape, big U. My first vintage guitar was a 64 Guild D40 that had a giant U-shaped neck. And I just like it a lot. But at the same time, my conviction on that kind of neck profile means that I have to look a little dorkier and I have to play my guitar up a little higher to get my hand around it. But yeah, so that's number one. And then the second one is I like the big V-shaped necks, and then those also play really well with being 12 frets. So like my favorite guitar right now is right over here, just out of frame. It's my Waterloo WLS, big V-shaped neck, 12 fret body. It's an 1.75" nut width. I'm very much a fingerstyle guitar player. Like when I'm playing with my fingers, and I'm doing open chords, and and then behind that I'm playing kind of folky, melodic stuff. And what there was another part of the question. Neck relief. I'm not picky. I try to keep them pretty flat. And I play a lot in dadged, and so I do a lot of like big jangly finger strumming. And like Colin Hay is he's my style of fingerstyle playing. But yeah, so I'm not picky on relief, and I'm also not super like numbers driven. So when people know exactly like how many thousands of relief they want, I don't know. That's not my. I've just never been that concerned about knowing the numbers behind stuff.
If you'd asked me this 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago, I would have said it's got to be 1 3/4 inch. It's got to be like the Performing Artist Taper Martin neck, because one of my first stage guitars was a Taylor, then a Maton, and then the Martin. So I think with some of this stuff you get used to something, and it's hard to then adjust maybe.
It's weird to go back to the Martin 11" and 11/16. Like it feels a little crowded for me. From researching for my guitar journey and talking to friends on forums and things years ago, I got it in my head that I don't like what I call the narrow nut, and I don't like V-necks. But I was just thinking today. Opposite.
No, but I was just thinking today. Actually, I now have a couple of guitars with the narrow nut, and I just got a guitar with the V-neck as well. And it also depends what you're playing. Like on electric guitar, I definitely prefer the slimmer necks. Like on the Fender Ultra neck, I prefer that to say the Silver Sky neck. But on the acoustic, because I'm doing a lot of fingerstyle strumming and less lead on playing the Martin, I don't mind the V-neck, and it can be comfortable. If I want to play lead on the Acoustic Sonic, I'll appreciate the thin neck. I think a lot of this is. I think I've got this theory that it depends, like what you play, what your first guitar you get is kind of might dictate what you then like for a while. And also the style that you're playing on that instrument, and also what you believe, what you read on forums. I'm not saying negative about that, but I did read a lot of other people's comments that went into my brain. I sold my original. I'm sorry to repeat this for the millionth time. I sold a John Mayer OM28 John Mayer because in my head that nut was too narrow, and that really got in my mind.
16th.
But right? Now I don't. Now I can play either. I don't really care. So I think it's what you get used to. I don't know. It's
kind of interesting. Like they certainly are different. Like I remember, so I worked at a vintage guitar shop for 7.5 years. At the end of my time, the guy I worked for said, he's like, "Hey, you get to pick any Martin you want." And it was my gift, or his gift to me as I was leaving. And I was like dead set that I wanted a 28 because it just felt iconic and important. And this is the kind of guitar I sold so much, and I knew how to sell them, and I knew every spec on them. And this is like 2012. So it's right when they were bringing out the Performing Artist Taper. And so it was the first round of D28s that had that. So it was an 1 3/4 nut and just a little wider profile. And I just found myself like shrugging my shoulder a bunch because I'd try and get my thumb like over the top. And I just didn't like it. So I ended up getting a D35 that had an 1 11/16 and never looked back. Like I love that guitar. And so, I mean, it doesn't seem like much, but it really is like kind of a noticeable difference in feel. And then you start, I mean, one thing that I always tell people when they're trying to figure out guitars and see if something's right for them is like, where do you feel at, like, where does your body feel comfortable with that guitar, and where do you feel like tension? Because those little things, they're little, but they're going to snowball out into like bigger things that you're probably not going to like. So like I have certain guitars that they don't hang around long, but I can always tell like if my shoulder feels kind of scrunched up, or I don't know, like you can just kind of feel that your body's not at ease after some guitars.
Can I ask,
so just
how
paying
tall
attention to those little things and being like, all right, well next time I'm gonna look for a guitar with an 1 3/4. But then there are some details that I'm like, when people say like, well, I can't play like the John Mayers, people talk about like, well, the neck radius is too small for me. I'm like, on an acoustic guitar, are you bending more than a full step? Like,
well, how much of that is spec in the mind, and how much of that is actual reality? And again, I'm not being disrespectful to people. I'm talking about my own mind here. But how tall are you? Because my name's Aaron Short. I'm actually 6'5". So so I can play a dread, and I like smaller body guitars. For years, I played a 3/4 size guitar for years. And of course, that was super comfortable. But I don't mind. But I mean, I think you said the size of the person. So how tall are you?
So I'm a very normal. I'm 5'9", and So for me, like I can play a dreadnought. A jumbo looks a little goofy on me. I've got a Guild jumbo, but I've been playing my Waterloo, which it's basically an LOO, and that's a small guitar. But 6'5",
I need a jumbo, right?
Yeah, there was. Did you ever listen to Tenacious D?
Oh, I love them. I play that song all the time.
So do you remember on their first record, on the artwork on the back of the record, they had a company make them like replica guitars, but they were larger, but they were dreadnoughts, but they made them like giant. I don't think they worked as actual guitars, but I just remember that as I was like 14 maybe when that record came out, and just like wanting to see. I mean, like it's a Gibson Dove, but it's like probably 50% bigger, and it's just a gag for them.
On the first album,
I think it's the back album art. At least it was on the CD. I haven't looked at this in like 20 years.
I'm trying to find it and I can't. But I think I know what you mean.
It's like a picture of him and KG. It's like a backlit picture, and then they have some song about like getting oversized guitars. But anyway, I've thought about that, wanting to find that in the back of my head. I think I looked before and couldn't find it. But when I find it, I'll send it to you.
Please. On a serious note, though, I try to bear that in mind, because if I'm reviewing a larger guitar and someone says, "Oh, is that comfortable?" Of course, I'm going to say, "Yeah, it's fine." I have to think about some people are playing the guitar and may not find it comfortable. So that is a really good point. One more thing I didn't add about the neck relief. I like it straight with a slight relief, because I'm big and I do a lot of rhythm playing and I lay into the guitar. So I like that. And then I find a lot of guitars ship pretty good, and if I need to lower the saddle, I will do, and that's something I think people can do themselves, especially with the Martins, because you can get the blank saddles and just sand them down and throw them in there and you're good. So that's all good stuff. Right, let's do another question. Why have they not seen you review a 12-string guitar? That's a good question.
Well, I've done two. Well, okay, so overall, I personally think guitar reviews are kind of boring. And so I didn't start doing YouTube to do reviews, but I left my full-time job to become a YouTuber full-time in February of 2020, which was unfortunate timing for Like,
I guess we had to, right?
Vlog and go to every guitar shop and like. So it was literally Fender reached out and asked if I would review some of their pedals, and then that turned into the American Pro 2 Strat, and that's how I kind of got into reviews. But yeah, so why haven't I reviewed 12 strings? So I did a video with Orangewood. I think I did just a straight review on their Echo 12. But they sent me the guitar and I said, well, what's a better angle? And so I made a video that was basically, and I did it, which was, what would happen if I only played a 12 string for a week? And so I packed up all my other guitars, and it was like 20 couple guitars went away, and I just played a 12 string for a week. And then I have a video, maybe I haven't done a full video. I don't know. I don't have a good answer.
I haven't done one either.
Yeah.
I don't really. They don't. It's not that I don't like them, but I would never play one. A lot of stuff for me is what would I use at a gig, so I wouldn't play one at a gig necessarily. I don't know. I'd like to. Like Rain Song, make a 12 string there. I'd like to try that.
Yes, man. And I like Taylor makes great 12 strings. I had a Taylor 555 and then a 355, and they're both great. Because I think when you get a 12 string that's built well, you get a lot more bass. But most of us only ever play the really affordable sub $500 ones that are laminate back and sides and big polyurethane finishes. And so we think 12 strings are kind of shrill and trebly, but we just have to get out to spend more money. So I have a Taylor T5 12 string that I'm selling on consignment for a friend, which that's a whole other guitar, kind of like the Acoustasonic that we didn't talk about.
Is this on your website where you sell stuff?
Yes.
Can I show them your website? Is that okay?
Yes, absolutely.
Here we go. JeremyTheGuitarHunter.com. Go there.
Yeah, so if you go to the shop and then over on the left side.
I'll get one of your t-shirts too. I like those.
Yeah, they're fun. That's my brother that one at the shop.
Oh,
that top banner is my older brother who lives in Australia now. But that's him playing guitar. I had just gotten the shirts and I was like, hey, can you I'll take some pictures. So there's the 12 string.
I've been looking at T5s. How are they? Are they good?
This one's good. It's like it's very
nice.
Very similar to the same idea as the Fishman. And they do the same thing. It's a piezo under the saddle, and then they blend some transducers, and then it's got a bridge pickup. So this is a really cool one with a beautiful top. So overall, I don't know. I struggle with just like straight reviews, and part of it is that I'm not a fantastic guitar player. Like I'm middle of the road, and I do my thing. But yeah,
it looks awesome. Like I meant the 6-string T5. Again, which was sort of like Acoustasonic territory, right? We're looking at here, I guess.
Yeah, same kind of idea. This one, so the guy that bought this got this because it was lighter than a Rickenbacker and cheaper, I think, as well. And but the same kind of idea. You have volume or 2 volumes in a tone or treble bass. Yeah, treble bass, volume, and then you have 5 positions you can move on the side. But the regular T5, they're okay. I would get an Acoustasonic before I'd get a T5.
I think, so the guy that worked on the T5 also worked on the Acoustasonic, also worked at Line 6, which is interesting.
Wow.
Yeah. I want to check those out. Actually, I'm going to hijack the questions now because I have a question. And I think this is for me. So as someone that's played a lot of, I've played Brain Song a long time. I've played the Australian guitars a long time. I've played the Acoustasonic. I've done a lot of Martin content. What do people do that play? I was going to say the big 3. I'll get told off for that. But let's say Martin, Gibson, Taylor, the Fender Acoustic, the obvious ones you get in Guitar Center. What if you want to branch out and try these other brands? Last week we were talking about the other brands like the Goodalls and all the. I don't know. Would I say boutique? But how do you step into that without spending a ton of money and because they're not in all the stores, are they? So how do you kind of move into that? And have you got any brands that you recommend people try that are looking that way?
Yes, I think. So there's this whole move of boutique but affordable. And they're like around the same price as some of the big 3 standard series, like a J45 or a D18. So like Iris Guitars out of Burlington, Vermont, amazing guitars. And that's my favorite guitar I owned last year in the buying and selling world was an Iris DF. So it's a round shoulder like a J45, but it's feather light. I think the one I had was like 4.2 pounds. And it just sounds like an amazing giant J45. And Iris guitars are great. Waterloo guitars, but Waterloo have gotten crazy expensive. Like I bought mine for $1,600 used. And so the main way that you're going to get into these guitars is to get them used. But it also takes, that's the gamble. If you haven't played one, buying guitars used is the wild, wild west. It's like there's no return policy. It's on you. You got to look at them. You got to know what you're doing, while you're at it. But I think certain shops would have more used stuff than others. So like if you're in Nashville, go to Carter, and Carter will have a bunch of cool used stuff and not that crazy expensive. Because you also have like the boutique acoustic guitar world has been around much longer than the boutique electric guitar world. So you're going to find lots of used, and Collings isn't really a boutique builder anymore. They're so big. But you'll find Collings kind of everywhere. You'll start seeing more like Preston Thompsons. Those are real expensive. Those are $5,000 and $6,000 now. You've got Pre-War is another great guitar company. Huss and Dalton, they're dear friends of mine. They're 30 minutes down the road. I've owned a bunch of Huss and Daltons. And that's my main like playing out guitar now is a Hudson Dalton TDM. But yeah, so if you're looking for them, you got to look for them used.
Yeah, and like I said, I've started buying used myself. Knock on wood, I've not had a bad experience yet. But you lose that hit of it's like buying a car, right? You drive out the lot, you lose all that money on top. So you buy used, you buy from the right place, or you have friends, you know them, you buy from them. That's even better because then you can.
Yeah, well, that's like
it.
This Wright Brothers D45 or J45 that I have. I mean, this was a $4,000 guitar, and I got it for $2,400. And even then, I got it for 2 guitars I got in brand deals. So
wow,
you can, and I want to be really careful. So I made a video a while ago called "Chasing Depreciation: Why You Should Buy Used Boutique Guitars," and I got several very angry emails from boutique builders that were not happy.
Really?
They don't like me talking about depreciation, but I'm trying to play 3D chess here, where I'm trying to say, this is a deal, you should buy these. And then lots of people buy them, and then they're not as good of deals, but they bring attention to good guitar companies that I care about.
Good point.
So that's right. Like I try to kind of aim some of my, like, hey, these are really cool. It continually makes, I bought my Hudson Dalton TDM for $2,000, and it's better than a custom shop D18. It's just an amazing guitar, and I got it for $2,000, and now no one has bought them for less than $3,000 since I made that video, because now, in most of the listings, they're going to put my video about how they're such a good deal, and so that's the hard part. But
and prices are going up too.
Yeah, and you can definitely find them when you get out and, like you said earlier, just make friends in the guitar building world. Have you been to guitar builders close to you, or who are the guitar builders around you?
I've been to Sadowski because he's down the road. The reason I fell in love with Martin was because they're close. Honestly, they're close by.
Yeah,
and then you love the history.
How far is it for you?
Hour and 45 drive.
Okay, cool. So, I've never done the Martin tour. I really want to.
Have you been to the factory?
No, I've never been there. It's like 4.5 hours for me.
Once things open up, you should go, and I'll come meet you there. Let me know. That'd be cool.
Yes, I mean, that's where, like, for me, like I have in the way that some people, they know every fact about the Yankees or whatever their team is. That's where I've been with Martin, since I was 14. It's just I've read every book that they've put out. I'm just nerdy about Martins, and I just love them and want everyone to own them. And but it's funny that I've just never been to the factory.
I know. I mean, it's like, everything is there. It's like, and again, that's why I connected with it. There's something about when you can go to the place when it's on your doorstep. I wonder if I'd feel the same about Taylor if I lived in California.
Yeah.
There's something about that, definitely, because you get to know the people and everything.
Yeah, and that's like, I didn't realize, I knew there were a lot of guitar builders in Virginia, but as my channel's grown, I'm realizing there are probably 75 builders in Virginia that are really good. And, and some of them are absolutely world class. Like Wayne Henderson is maybe 2 hours from me. And, his guitars start at $44,000 now.
44. And he makes like one a year, right? That's the reason, right?
I think he makes like 10 or 12. And he's now teaching other people. So you're starting to see people that are building, they'll say Henderson style, but Henderson guitars are basically pre-war style Martins. And
I just saw another one yesterday. A friend of mine just picked up a guitar by Thames.
Oh, okay.
Similar thing. So now I'm looking around. I'm realizing there are a ton of smaller builders and other alternative builders, and that was really what I was getting at earlier. Like, everyone's looking around on Sweetwater at Martin and Taylor and Fender. Like, how about looking at other? I had a used Goodall when I was in London. I bought a Goodall with a crack in the side, had like an Addy top, and it had been repaired, so it was a bit cheaper. Had an Addy top and mahogany back and sides. I still have it back in the UK. One day I'll bring it over here. So essentially, like an Addy top D18. Great guitar. Yeah, great.
Was yours made in Hawaii or was it in California?
Ooh, I'm not sure. I did get the spec sheet. I'll ask you a question. I'll see if I can find it.
Sure.
Lewis says, how do you stay present in the moment instead of chasing the next achievement, guitars and gear? Well, I guess if you're watching this program, there's not a good answer for that. But I don't know. I can't stop chasing gear, so I don't know how to answer that, Lewis. What do you think, Jeremy?
I think that you just have to be really careful. The best guitar for you is the guitar you already have.
Yeah.
And so a friend of mine that was teaching me photography said that the best camera is the one that's with you.
Yeah.
And so I think, so for guitar, I don't know, and it's funny now because Tony Policastro is now a friend. And I remember I caught myself years ago where it's like, oh, I have free time on the internet. Oh, I'll watch Tony has a new review on the new M36. And I would watch that. And I found myself just like in the background, the music I was listening to was just guitar reviews. And I found myself like, being super stagnant in my playing and just inspiration. And so I think you have to keep kind of a rolling, if you use your phone for whatever it's called, like your screen time, where you're like, oh, wow, I watched 70% gear reviews and, I only watch, a couple concerts I've already seen before or like Tiny Desk concerts. So finding a way to stay, like, remember why you play guitar, like the inspiration, the music you love, seeing new people like create music. I don't know. I think if you're stagnant, it's probably because you're watching too much, like, should I buy this videos rather than like watch me play this.
It's all a balance.
Kind of stuff.
But Lewis has been taking my guitar lessons, so I don't know why he's looking at gear anyway, because he's been learning the guitar. So yeah, Lewis,
Awesome.
just keep up with the practicing. It's awesome. Maybe you can help me with this. My Goodall was 2003. So where would that have been made?
That would probably be. I don't think he moved to Hawaii until like the mid 2000s. So I think that's California. Which, has he passed away? I don't know.
Has he?
I don't know.
I think so.
I remember. So I first started making YouTube videos to sell guitars, and then I found very quickly that the guitars would sell right away, and then these videos kind of live on forever, and they're a bit pointless if it's just, I'm selling this guitar, email me. But one of the first ones I did was a Goodall that was their contemporary. It was like a 12 fret with a cutaway, and it had zero coat back and sides. But I remember I posted it, and then James Goodall's daughter emailed me. So I don't think I think I'm wrong that he's passed away, but I remember that someone in his family sent me an email that I had a guitar.
Let me see here. I'm going along. They've got a whole timeline on their website. So
That's
they moved.
awesome.
When did they move? Does it say? Oh yeah, moved back to California 2009.
Okay, so maybe
Moved to Hawaii 93, just before 93.
Okay.
So mine's Hawaiian then.
I had one that was like early 2000s that was Hawaiian.
Is there any talk online about which area is the best? I hate saying that. It sounds ridiculous, doesn't it?
If there was, if you own one that's made in Hawaii, you should start that thread. Pre-California.
It's like the Mesa Boogies, isn't it? Mine is pre-Gibson.
Yeah. I just found a Mesa Boogie Roadster in a barn. So.
Wow. Congrats.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Yeah. A friend of mine was like, there was an old practice space that some musicians used to play. There's a bunch of stuff in there. And I went over, I'm like, oh my gosh. And it fired right up. It's 4 channels, 100 watts. So loud it like my teeth hurt while I was playing it earlier today.
You see this? 2010, just after February 2010, Goodall Guitars set up shop at 541 South Franklin Street, the new shop.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, great guitar. This is a whole new rabbit hole to go down. Even just Goodall guitars, right? It's like so many different, like I said, so many different
builders.
But
it is, because then you start seeing the family tree of these guitar builders. Like, who taught who? Like, well, Jim Olson taught, Bob Wise, and Bob Wise taught the guys that make Charisse guitars. And so you start seeing these kind of family trees. That's what I'm starting to notice now with the Gallup School. They're a school in Michigan. They teach lutherie. And my friend Ben Paget, who's become a dear friend, and his it's not in here, it's in the house, but his guitar, it's one of my favorite guitars I've ever owned. And but it's cool now. Like when I was at Casino last week, I saw a guitar, and without even knowing who built it, I was like, that guy went to the Gallup School. Because you just see these things like how they make their volute and how they shape the back of the headstock and, you know, the radius of the neck heel. It's just these little DNA kind of things that are so cool that you start seeing in hand-built guitars. And I think that for most of us, you should check it out. Like, it's kind of like, you know, you like a Ford, and then you start doing like a lift on your truck, and you start customizing it, and you start seeing like, oh, like there's a whole new world of what I can get out of this thing I love if I let craftsmen into that process. And I just think hand-built guitars are amazing.
Yeah, I had Daisy Tempest on here, and it's the same thing. She worked with other builders in the UK. And it's the same thing with that. Yeah, there's so many builders we don't know about. But then there's that whole thing of people gravitate towards the big brands, don't they? Like if you could leave that room right now and take one guitar, would it be one of the Martins or something?
I don't own them. I don't own a Martin right now.
Oh, you said earlier, like I love them and I want to tell everyone about them. So I thought that meant that you. Oh, okay.
I sold. I had one. I had a 1970 D41 that I just sold, and so I realized last week I was like, I don't own a Martin right now. So as I look around my room, I have a Waterloo WLS. I have a Gibson LG1. I have a Gibson Southern Jumbo. I have a Guild Jumbo, and then this Wright Brothers. In this room, I would grab one of these two. Probably, I would grab the Waterloo, my WLS. And so it's made by Collings in Austin. And I just think that there's something amazing about having a guitar that is just, because it's an entire physical experience. And that's what I think electric guitars tend to be lacking. It's just, there are too many variables with electric guitars. But with acoustic guitars, it's like really good top, really rigid sides, you know, well-tuned back, and then from there it just kind of erupts out into the world. It just takes energy from your hands and sends it out into the world and into your ears. But yeah, I'm on a mission for the right Martin, but I don't own one right now.
Well, if you find it, give me a call and let me get it. I want to find about that one of it. I want to find about the one about the Casino guitars. They're still on my mind. All right, we've almost at 5 o'clock. Have you got time for a quick fire round? A few more questions?
Let's do it.
Okay, Blaine Train. Have you played a harp guitar? There's a YouTuber named Jamie that has me dying to try one. If you have, is there anything we should be on the lookout for quality-wise?
I have played one. It's an original Gibson U-harp. The one that I played was from 1907. It was owned. I had the incredible experience to work for an amazing collector who had just an incredible collection of old crazy stuff from Gibson and Martin. So I've played one. They're really fun. They just, like, to me, they just open up a whole world of creativity and curiosity. I don't know about the newer ones. I know Greenfield Guitars has made some for Andy McKee, but I haven't played any, and those seem like they would be super, super expensive.
I'm just going through the comments here. The next question is for Jeremy from Vic. You have a lot of advice for finding bargains for buyers. Do you have any advice for sellers to get them the most return from guitars that they are selling? Good question.
I do. That is the number one thing that you have to know how to do if you're going to be in the guitar collecting world, is you have to master buying and selling. Okay, so this is going to feel like a shameless plug. I have a guitar course where I literally teach how to buy guitars, how to sell guitars, and get the momentum back out of them so that you can build a meaningful guitar collection that feels representative of you and is meaningful and sets you up for every musical situation you're going to be in. So the main things about buying or about selling a guitar to get that momentum back in is to really understand the guitar market, to know how much you can get out of that guitar. And then you have to be able to really clearly articulate that through a really captivating description. You have to be able to take pictures that are just completely, that people see your pictures and they just feel compelled to buy that guitar. So get really good at photography, get really good at writing descriptions, and then you have to really become a master of reading reading people and connecting with people. And so I cover this in long form in the course. But those are the big things. Learn how to understand people through verbal and nonverbal communications, photos, and descriptions.
You have to be basically a guitar store and the photographer and everything. As when you do YouTube videos, you're the videographer and the producer and everything and the player, everything, right? So it's the same thing.
Absolutely.
Check out that book for sure. And also, I think next week's guest, we're going to talk about buying and selling used guitars as well. So stay tuned for that. I'm guilty of sometimes rushing my listings and wondering why they don't sell. Because your listing needs to be as good as the Sweetwater listing at the end of the day, right? So that makes sense.
Well, maybe. I don't think you're competing with Sweetwater, but you're competing. With
that quality of all the specs and the photography and maybe even the video demo. I don't know.
Yeah. So one thing specs don't sell guitars. Helping people discover themselves, make new music, and so all the stuff that you can do, we buy products that solve internal problems, which the internal problem is how you feel about not being able to, feeling uninspired with your guitar. So it's not, I need a guitar that's 24 frets. It's, I need a guitar that I can shred. And so there's a ton to that. There's a great book called Building a Story Brand. It will help you understand how people process marketing information and what actually motivates people. And it's self-discovery, it's self-reliance. It's, it's like when you're teaching your kid to play catch and you throw a ball and they miss the ball and you point to it and they're like, look over there, Kevin, it's right there behind you. And they look at you and they look at your finger and they don't understand that I'm pointing an invisible line to the thing you want most in this world. And so a lot of our marketing, unfortunately, when we're like, it's 24 frets and it's these specs, we're just showing people our finger. We're not pointing them to the thing you really want, the deeply satisfying thing that is the feel of a giant acoustic guitar just vibrating against your body and your family looking at you and saying, you're making a soundtrack for our life. So that's the thing that I teach people how to do. And so it's not a book. So what I offer, it's a 19 video course, similar to my YouTube videos, but it has that. And then it also has a workbook that goes with it. Right. But yeah, that's the problem I'm trying to fix in the world is buy the right guitars, sell the wrong guitars, and wind up with a collection that creates a legacy for you.
Yes, there we go. I'll just show it on the screen. That is the course there, so you can check that out when we're done. David says, how does the T5Z compare to the Acoustasonic? You already mentioned that did you say you take the Acoustasonic?
The Acoustasonic a little Okay. It's the same idea, but 15 years ago.
Exactly, yeah. It's a newer version of it, isn't it?
I think the partnership with Fishman, which it is kind of daunting when you look at the picture of the inside of the Acoustasonic. It's a full little computer in there. So I don't know. I'm curious to see how those will age and how they'll be repaired. But they sound amazing. Technology.
And then our final question, which is a bit tongue-in-cheek from BMO, because one of the first Martins I had was the Retro series, which is basically now the Reimagined series kind of spec.
Yeah.
But it had that circuit board in there. I think that's one reason they got rid of it, because it had this big circuit board inside the guitar and the Retros. Yeah. And he says, Jeremy, how much is a mint Martin HD28 Retro worth today?
Oh, that's a good question. They've all gone up. Isn't
that nuts?
Yeah. They're all, because D18s for the longest time, you could find them for like $1,200, $1,600, and they would be minty clean. And now you can't really find them under $2,000. And so I would, just guess 23, 24. Because the other reality is that new D18s are so scarce right now. So people that are looking for one, they will buy used. And so that's where getting your listing out there on Facebook Marketplace and Reverb, even though I've had a very sordid history, a complicated history with Reverb.
Oh, you have a video about that, right? I'll watch that later.
Yeah, that was the first video of mine that blew up. And so without going into the details, I stopped using Reverb. I use it tiny bits here and there, but I've basically stopped using Reverb since 2018.
So how do you sell guitars now? Through your own website?
Build a YouTube channel.
I see.
Just completely around my elbow to get to my thumb. Build up a big following on YouTube and Instagram. And so I use my website, and then I just don't use reverb. Sometimes I wonder if I've just shot myself in the foot because I have stuff that takes a little longer, but it's okay. I don't miss reverb.
BMO is kidding because we've often spoke about that guitar because that's another guitar I said I sold and miss it. But the only thing I have with those kind of guitars is that they're now like that. People are asking like 10 grand. Oh no, sorry, a grand more for them now. Like let's say they were obviously inflation, right? Let's say when they released they were 2 grand. I see them on the used market now mint for 3 grand. And the only problem I have, like you just said, is that they don't make those parts anymore. I've kind of confirmed that on some of these things. They don't make the parts. So what are you going to do if you can't replace it in the future? And that's why I think they shouldn't be, you know? Yeah, but you're going to have those big holes. But you can have those, they had the controllers on the side. You can have the holes in the side. So I don't know.
Yeah. So, I mean, you'll hope that like LR Bags or somebody does a thing where you can retrofit, put a couple pots in there. But I missed that it was an HD28, so I was off. I mean, everything herringbone has shot up. Because the other part with the herringbone is that it's also scalloped bracing. And so they'll pay a lot more for that. So I would bet $27.50 would be like kind of fire sale on one of those.
I did buy one of the Fender guitars with the V Strat with the Roland system in it, mint.
The VG.
The VG, and I love the guitar, and it's a really cool system. Again, it's older, and it's not perfect, but it's a really good system. But my only fear with that, even though it's mint, is that if that system breaks and I can't get the parts anymore, I can still play it as a Strat, which is cool. I could still play it as a heavy Strat, but it would just suck if you can't. So I think with technology, I think that's why a lot of people stay away from it completely. And I think it's also something to bear in mind if you're buying used gear. But anyway, that's another topic.
Thankfully, like the G system that's built on, the Roland synth system, has been around for 30 years now. So there are lots of, I mean, other than the pot and the controller.
The battery box, things like that. That's the thing.
But like the pickup, like the pieces that would be most exposed and would be broken are still available. But
the pickup,
That guitar was a bit of a swing and a miss. I have a friend here in town that bought one. We had 4 of them to sell, and it took us like 2 years to sell them because they were. It was an American Strat with it's $1,000 more for the synthesizer, where you could buy the synth kit separately for like $500 or $600.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, swing and a miss.
Well, again, I think I got that used mint for like 17. I don't know what they were. How much were they when they released them? Weren't they? I thought they were.
The map pricing was $19.99.
Okay, so
I think they came out they also came out they came out right at the crash. I think they came out in 2008. Maybe they came out in 2007, right before the crash. Because I think it was part of the 50th anniversary. So the first ones were 50th anniversary 60th anniversary and the VG.
That's a whole nother topic about like, does technology mix with gear because it will become obsolete at some point? And the great thing about your vintage Martin is that it'll just go up in value. Whereas if you've got a guitar with a broken battery compartment and a broken wire cable, then you might be. I know some people still think that those retro Martins are worth $1 grand more than they were. I guess they're still great guitars.
And the other people that like, it's the same thing with people that have the golden era, and they think that they're basically the authentic. They're not, but they're really good. But yeah, I think so. A mentor of mine used to always say that clarity lives just on the other side of complexity. And I think most of us get stuck in the complexity of guitars, and we don't ever get past that to where we can talk about guitars simply and see like, you can kind of see this whole history of, the golden era was people that wanted guitars that had older specs but were newer and more affordable. And then the retro is the same idea. So I think some people just get hung up in the complexity of it all.
But that's an interesting topic about the music and the technology, because if none of us bought technology because it will become outdated, we wouldn't buy a Mac, we wouldn't buy an iPhone, we wouldn't buy anything like that, would we?
But how it's because we're in this little like inlet of the guitar world, and we don't play by many of the same rules that we play by with other consumer technology. And that's how I feel. Like I just got a Bose L1 Pro PA system. Like that thing is super tech heavy. And in 10 years, I'm sure it will, that stuff doesn't age well. But I also like, I have a Tone Master Deluxe and I love it and I use it every day. And like it's my go-to recording amp because it's silent if I need it to be silent. It sounds great. It's super light. You know, it was a weird, like a couple months ago I did the firmware update and I like had that existential, like I'm updating the software on my tube amplifier. It's not a tube amplifier. Wait. So
yeah. Well, we'll see if guitars do in fact become, I mean, like the Lava Me and these things, if that actually takes off. We're in a kind of transitional phase, I think. See what the next generation are into with that stuff, you know.
I mean, yeah. I mean, 16 million people have started playing guitar in the last 2 years. So more people have learned to play guitar at a faster rate to the total population than ever before.
Yeah.
So I think we're in for a boom. I mean, that's part of why everything's more valuable. It's because more people are trying to get into the guitar world. Yeah.
Look, Jeremy, we could speak for hours, but I know I had you for an hour and I've already gone over by 12 minutes. I think what I'll do is I will invite you to come back again at some point if when you're available. I'd love that because
that'd be fun,
I'm doing this Mondays now with different guests, so I'll just we could choose a different. Maybe next time we'll just choose a specific topic because it's so hard, as you know, when you start talking about even just acoustic guitar pickups or acoustic guitars, and then you look at the clock and the time is just flown just talking about one thing. So maybe next time we'll pick a topic like and just talk about like technology and acoustic guitars or something like that. That'd be awesome. Yeah. So just let people know where they can find out more about you, please.
Absolutely, yeah. So JeremyTheGuitarHunter.com. That's most everything. I'm on YouTube and Instagram. And then the other one is check out the course. So it's guitar-hunter.teachable, TEACHABLE.com. That's my course. It's $147. It's 19 videos. And with that, it covers in long form what I try to kind of teach people on how to buy, sell, and build a collection of guitars.
That's great. And like I said, I wish I had that 5 years ago because I bought and sold a lot of guitars that either I shouldn't have done or I didn't do in the best way. Let's just say that. So I put that link in the chat. Thank you so much. If you're new here to my channel, please subscribe and ring the bell. I'd really appreciate it. Jeremy, once again, thank you for your time. Please keep in touch. I'd love to do some more of these if you've got the time. And I really enjoyed today. That's great to meet you for the first time as well.
You.
Yeah, awesome. Right, I'll say goodbye. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day.
Bye,
I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you.